I'll say, I'm not afraid to. Strange World has a vastly more interesting world than the entirety of Avatar.
Why you pulling me? I'm right.
Strange World is the latest animated film from Disney, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Dennis Quaid, Gabrielle Union, and Lucy Liu. And this film tells the story of a farmer who's called upon to explore a new world in search of finding answers that could possibly save their own. What follows is a film that surprises and captures the imagination like few sci-fi films have recently, even if the narrative is fairly generic. Part of why I and so many others love science fiction as a genre are the seemingly limitless possibilities to the kinds of stories and worlds you can create in it. You're not bound to the limitations of reality, and when writers and directors truly embrace that, you get some of the greatest stories ever told. Lately though, it feels as if the sci-fi and fantasy genres are playing it too safe. A lot of these films and shows will ground themselves in reality, which isn't bad, but I miss having my imagination run wild, and thankfully this film allows that to happen. Easily, the best thing about this movie is its world. Calling a movie Strange World and having it be fairly normal wouldn't be fun, so they go all out on making this world as creative and weird as they possibly can. Every few minutes there's a new location or creature that's introduced, and I immediately want to learn everything I can about them. The designs are so much fun, and it's clear the animators had a blast coming up with these creative and strange designs. Despite this having similar animation to recent Disney films, with the way the world is, it feels all its own. But while the world is beautiful, imaginative, and different, I can't say the same for the story. The center of this film is a generational story about two fathers and how they affected each other and how it's affecting his son as well. While this isn't a bad idea and it's been done well before, aside from the grandfather being a bit crazy after being on this world for so long, it really doesn't add anything new to it. You know how the plot's going to resolve itself, and it's disappointing to see a Disney film be generic with its story. But despite the story being generic, the characters are thankfully very fun to watch. Each character is performed fantastically, and despite a lot of them following the tropes that come from this kind of story, I never felt bored while watching it. Part of why I didn't like Avatar was because it had generic characters with little to no personality to them. Usually that'd be offset by the world and action, but it didn't succeed at that in my eyes. Here, each character has a distinct personality, they have arcs, even if they are generic, and I wanted to see them succeed in their goal because this film put in the work to make me like them. Not only that, but this film has a really clever way of tying the world to the mission the characters are going on. I won't say what it is, but it genuinely surprised me and changes the way the world looks to make a lot more sense by the end. It really disappoints me that this film did so poorly at the box office and that Disney just seemed uninterested in marketing the film. You have an A-list cast, a really fun sci-fi world to explore, and you're fucking Disney! Just put in a little bit of effort into marketing and it can make money. But for whatever reason, Disney decided just to plop this one into theaters and call it a day. While I can understand some people not being grabbed by the story, it's understandable to see why. It's hard for me to believe there are those that weren't grabbed at least a bit in this world they created. While the story may be generic, the world in Strange World more than makes up for the faults of the narrative in my eyes. Great performances, beautiful animation, and again, a world that captures the imagination. Strange World is another Disney film that I believe is destined to be a cult classic. I'm going to give Strange World a 7 out of 10.